Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends and enemies, comrades and carters, to Carthritis, episode 5. This one aptly named the Revolution. I think people will get it this time.
For the record, I've never gotten it so far.
Right, and that looks bad on me because I even explained it to you once.
I'm joking.
But that's okay. Okay, yeah. So this is Carthritis, gang of old gamers, mostly kart related, who have grown old and need to talk about it.
I think Matt's pretty young still.
Oh. No, I think we're pretty much the same age, Carl.
Okay.
I'm 31.
Yeah, I'm older.
Yeah, I'm older too. Let's.
I'm also older.
Okay, we're all old.
30 plus is what I said, yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just want to mention briefly that you can find this show via the podcast apps. You can be so kind to subscribe there, so you'll get them as soon as the episodes are released. Also, there's usually a YouTube version, which I think someone eloquently called the director's cut, which comes full on with moving imagery and inside puns and whatnot. So that's usually a couple of days after the episode itself.
Pictures of Clark speed shitting, stuff like that, yeah.
We got the goods. Let's leave it at that. All right, so let's do the introductions again. I'm starting off this time. So I'll state my name and something that makes me proud to be from my country.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit rough on the Americans, huh?
I was just thinking that I wish Harvey was in this episode instead of me.
Because
he did 90 minutes on why he's proud to be American.
All right. Well, you know, I always pick which question I'm going to ask based on the guests. I don't think I would have asked this question with Harvey on. So,
unless you want a 4.5 hour episode.
Which it would be the best episode, by the
way. In a way, yeah. All right. Anyway, my name is Sargoth, and I hail from the land of ice, snow, fjords, Vikings, and mountains, I guess. Now that I mention it, those are probably the things I am enjoying about my country. The scenery. The people are so-so, the culture is fine, but the nature is stellar.
+1.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm KVD. I hail from the Netherlands, and I'm struggling to think of something that I'm proud of. To be honest, we always get second place and stuff, so we like to,
give.
We like to give other countries their time in the spotlight. That's why. So we are a giving country.
Good.
Okay, well, I'm Joe Reinreb. This is a very loaded question coming from. So I'll speak as an American. What makes me proud of my country? I will say, to be, I guess, as loose as possible. America has something for everybody. I think there's a very vast culture here, even though we claim to not really have a culture. But I guess if you go to a certain part of the country, it's different than the other part of the country, which is different than that part of the country, which is different than that part of the country. So you don't really know what to expect. So there's a little something for everybody. I'd say it's got a lot of different sports. It's got a lot of different food. It's got a lot of different so it just kind of depends on where you go. So I'm proud to be of a place that you can go somewhere within the same country and still experience a totally different type of I guess atmosphere.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to follow up after that. But my name is Matt Ballard. I'm also from the U.S., Louisiana specifically, and I kind of want to give a sarcastic answer because Joe pretty much said most of the good things that can be said about living here. But
I tried my best.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad things, but yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, what makes me proud to be an American? I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I mean, when I lived in Germany, like, I never broadcasted that, never, obviously it would come up in conversation, but I wasn't like, broadcasting like, hey, I'm an American, Donald Trump, yeah, but, I don't know, like, just, I don't know other country. Like, okay, so let's say when we get through with this podcast, I feel like going somewhere and like shooting a bunch of guns or blowing shit up. I can go do that, like I can go out to the middle of nowhere, take like 1,000 wine bottles, fill them with gasoline, and then shoot them with a gun and watch them explode. And
then yell, America, fuck yeah.
Exactly. Okay, maybe not the most environmental friendly thing to do. Is it fun? Yes, it's tons of fun. Right. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess living in Louisiana, living in the country, out in the middle of nowhere, more or less. I have a lot of freedom to just kind of do whatever, and I think that's pretty great. Not that I exercise that freedom. I don't go around shooting guns and blowing shit up. But
that's what people think when they say like American, right?
Yeah, I know, but just because I'm not doing those things doesn't mean that it's not an option,
Right.
And yeah, so that's my terrible answer.
Can I come back to my initial answer, because that was kind of a meme answer as well. I always get at second place at CDM, but I am kind of proud of the Dutch because we are so progressive. So in like this weekend we had the Pride in Amsterdam again, and I think it's very, very shall we say, we're very open-minded with a lot of subjects. So, for example, in the States you could get in trouble if you say you're an atheist. In the Netherlands we don't give a shit.
So
basically, whatever you are, it's fine. And I think that's really cool about the Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can say those things once you're north of the Mason-Dixon line in the U.S. and kind of not, get any type of scrutiny. But, if I go outside right now and yell, I'm an atheist, someone's going to throw a brick at my face,
It's all reasonable, huh?
I don't experience that kind of stuff here in Colorado. So
yeah. You what? You were living in Texas, was it, Joe?
I was, yeah. I lived in Austin for a while.
Okay, well, Austin's not so bad. Though. That's a pretty if I'm not mistaken, that's like a pretty open-minded city as far as Texas is concerned.
Yep.
Oh yeah, as far as Texas is concerned, it's as liberal as you can possibly get there.
Yeah, it's not so bad there. I mean, I'm like in the heart of the Bible Belt though, so
yeah.
Which can be entertaining at times, but for the most part, it's just somewhat depressing. So.
Oh man, I have to ask, can Jesus take the wheel question again?
Wait, are you legitimately asking, can Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah, that's what I asked Goomba in episode 1, because he lives in the Bible Belt in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised there is a Bible Belt in the Netherlands. That's
what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That does sound kind of weird. I mean, what is that, like
Smallish.
20 people?
Yeah, it's like some cities which have not moved on since the 1800s or something. I don't know. We don't talk about that.
Okay.
Except it happens to be that where both Goomba and me were born.
Well, okay, so I may be completely wrong here, but when you say that, it kind of makes me think of like Amish people, because Joe, is that word? Don't the Amish people like hail from the Netherlands? Aren't I want to say that their roots are Dutch, maybe?
Like, I don't know enough about the Amish to make that call, but I think it's pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Like they wear black clothes on. And And on Sunday they have to walk to church. They cannot ride, whatever, stuff like that. So,
okay, no, that sounds like the Amish people.
I think it's pretty close, yeah.
Okay, they kind of stray away from the modern world and keep things like very, very old school.
Yeah, for example, vaccinations are a no-go. Stuff like that.
Yeah. They're not about no secular
yada.
medicine. Yeah. Yep.
Brilliant.
I know, right? It's beautiful.
That's the way forward. No medication.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think those were fine answers.
No, mine was terrible, but okay.
You guys basically said America is the land of opportunity, which is a great poster.
I think somebody might have said that before us, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
That was sort of my point. I think I would have.
You said you like sarcasm and goth, right? Sarcasm.
Yeah. I think I would have mentioned the not the war, obviously. Mentioned the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
that makes sense.
like the only or the first constitution that is going for a separation of church and planet.
I mean, it looks nice on paper, but like that's not how it really is in reality, though.
No, if everyone's illiterate, the paper means nothing, of course. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's good for introductions before we get into some shady territory here. Maybe that was exactly too late.
It was.
Right. So let's go to the world of card first. Yeah. So there was the Elite / MK64 meeting, and where is it? Where is it?
Virginia. Yep.
Yeah. So that happened. I want to say this week, but it's like a week, right?
Yeah, it's a week.
Yeah.
Small week.
Sadly, they skipped the GoldenEye part of the proceedings.
Yeah, what happened there?
From what I heard, there were only 4 GoldenEye players, so they decided to F it and just go MK64 instead.
Yeah, okay.
So we were talking in a previous episode about how it's sort of 50-50.
Mhm.
It was.
That has changed then.
Yeah. I think it kind of stands and falls with whoever joins, right? And Ice wasn't there, for example. Patrick Nielsen wasn't there.
Yeah.
And all the guys weren't there. Yeah, then you don't have a meet.
Anyway, so let's talk a bit about the Mario Kart 64 part of it all. First off, I just want to mention how sort of a long time it took to play Versus with, 25 people?
Wow.
Jesus. 25 people? Wow.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be like top 16 and then in 4 batches, and the 2 best move on, etc. But they had to do play-ins because there were so many players. So the play-ins were 1 day, and the quarterfinals were 1 day. Semi and final was 1 day.
Wow.
But it felt
Jesus.
It felt like it was even longer, like it was 5 days or something. It was just so slow because they only did the competition for a couple hours a day.
Oh, right. So
So
it's basically
The opposite of
just
CDM.
chilling. Yeah. That's true. CDM is a bit on the heavy side
Well,
in terms of competition.
yeah.
But it's
But that's what is happening. So it makes
exactly.
sense. And it was only versus 4-player. No other modes were played.
Hmm.
So that's the criticism out of the way.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. There was quite a lot. I really enjoyed how they had 4 separate webcams for the players.
Oh yeah.
That was
That's
good.
cool.
And very easy to see who's who. And none of the guessing stuff. The video was fine, except there was no deinterlacing for some reason. But whatever, that's a pet peeve of mine. And the matches were pretty interesting all around. I guess we can spoil who won. You guys know as well, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So Becca Abney took it away, probably to no surprise of anyone. But he was in big trouble in the quarter and semifinals.
You pulled through though.
He almost went out in the quarters, actually.
Yeah.
He did a bit better in the semi. Probably some getting used to the format or jet lag or whatever the first few days.
Well, it is like 4-player versus. You're basically delivered to the mercy of the gods in MK64. Like no matter how good you are, you can always have a lot of bad RNG swings and just go out. Like Dan Burbank, for example, probably suffered some bad luck to go out that early.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's my problem. My main problem with the like the newer Mario Karts, which I mean, I never played Mario Kart 64. I never had a Nintendo 64.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? I went from a Super Nintendo to a Sega Dreamcast. Didn't have a PlayStation. Never had a 64.
That's
so,
unorthodox.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're kind of poor growing up, so me and my brother rocked the Super Nintendo for years, which we were totally okay with, you know, like so many good games on that console.
Oh.
Like even to this day, it's like my favorite console. of all
Totally.
time,
No
you know?
arguments here.
Hands down, yeah.
But I did play the one for the Wii quite a bit.
That's the worst one, right?
And
Yeah.
people kind of acknowledged that one as the worst one, but I mean, I went from Super Mario Kart to Mario Kart Wii, and so I didn't like have any expectations. I mean, I did play a little bit of Mario Kart 64, and I remember thinking, man, this game looks terrible. You know, I just thought it looked like shit. You know, and you know, I'm sure tons of people think it that way about the original one, but I think it. I don't know. I think it looks better. I think Super Mario Kart just looks better. You know, I think Mario Kart. Yeah, it looks crisper. You know, it's a crisper image or whatever. But never really got into Mario Kart 64. Of course, I had friends that had 64s, and I just couldn't get into it. And yeah, I did play the one on Wii a lot, and really enjoyed that one. But you know, playing like 4-player versus, I mean, man, you're at the mercy of, you know, the CPUs, you know, just, you know, the computer characters, the items. I mean, sometimes the best racer, you know, can lose every match, you know, just because people are just completely OP with, you know, the items that they're getting. And that's what I really hate about the later Mario Karts.
Amen. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the introduction of the blue shell?
64.
That was 64?
64.
That's when the series went downhill for me.
Second game, Joe. Second game. It's also the same version that they left the feather item out. La plume.
Yeah, La Plume.
It's a damn tragedy, man. That item is great.
Yeah.
I gotta say the blue shell is not that bad in MK64.
It's true. In MK64 it works.
I mean, is it possible to dodge it at all?
Well, not conventionally, but stars or ghosts, that works.
Yeah, and it's not as common in MK64.
Also, the time you get back up to speed is nigh instant. So you crash, you tumble, 2 seconds, and then you're sort of back in it.
That's nice.
In SMK, it would be the worst item.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
In SMK, the worst item as it stands is lightning, or double lightning if you're mole. But that's, devastating. I always say, if I would take one thing out of SMK, it's zoom stars. Or I would just make them easier. The second thing would probably be lightning, to be honest. Or ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts are almost as big as annoyance, I think.
Well, it's a good game, though.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't need that much changing, but...
We were talking about MK64. Did you guys watch much of the proceedings?
I didn't see any of it. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I mean, was this like the MK64 equivalent of CDM? Or was this just in a way? Yeah, but you said they only did Grand Prix?
Well, it's the closest you get, but it's not a real equivalent.
Well, I mean, do they acknowledge like the winner as the world champion of Mario Kart 64, or
a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's going on is that you have the Europe meet in MK64, which actually goes through all the modes, CDM style, but has less players. And this one has more players, but only does one mode. So it's like...
you said it was 25 people that showed up?
Something like that, yeah.
Man, that's a little surprising, because it seems like the Mario Kart 64 community might have the most members. I think it's kind of universally the most popular one, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, the SMK, you know, when people come to CDM, it's usually like, at least 50 people?
Yeah, I think that has to do with the fact that MK64 may be very popular with people because it's a good party game.
It's a great
but actually the deep multiplayer mechanics don't work as well as they do in SMK. So the hardcore people, there tend to be less, I think, in MK64.
Oh, okay.
Or they play time trial, let's say.
Yeah, because actually Beck Abney is sort of the new generation MK64 player who has taken Grand Prix to a completely different level.
The Grand Prix speedruns are crazy, yeah.
So he has sort of a background from a more multiplayer standpoint than
all
the other time trialers from way back when. Beyond Beck Abney, I really want to give a shout out to Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frankie.
Frankie Z, yeah.
I think his the way he played surprised me the most because he had a brilliant decision-making process all through the all of the finals. He was my favorite to win, of course. But
I thought you were talking about the emoji, by the way. I thought you were talking about Franker Z.
oh
No,
no.
Frankie is a MK64 player.
Okay, yeah, I was confused. I'm sorry.
Also, let's take a second of silence for Franker Z.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Frankie. I don't really know him from previously. He just showed up and impressed me quite a lot. Do you know him, Carol?
I don't know him, but I know he, for example, has the world record on Choco Mountain Lab, which Beck Abney played for over 1,000 hours or something. So that's no small feat.
Oh, yeah. Because what surprised me is it was very clean with the mini turbos and extremely aware of his surroundings when he played. Like, if anyone got an item, he would line up on the road so that if they shot him, he would be not falling out of the road, but he would stay inside. So he would take some.
Yeah. So let me just revise my statement earlier that MK64 multiplayer, I mean, it does work, but the transition from going to casual to expert is not as obvious because, like you say, you have to take into account where you might get hit by items and constantly mind your position where you are.
Yeah.
And it's not as transparent, but it's very skillful. It's taking nothing away from the top guys.
Right.
Absolutely.
But suddenly there are 3 lightnings and everything goes out the window. But you have to make the best of it, and
Exactly.
the people who consistently make the best of it will get far.
Yeah, and the fact that Beck Abney wins also speaks in its favor, because he is by far the best Grand Prix speedrunner. So
yeah, and other guys, I was watching some of Stinson. Gotta give a shout out to Stinsmeister. And I'm gonna mention Mark Jones in the same breath. Hopefully not in a bad way. They were both the kind of old school player, the knee deep in time trial sort of racing, with some knowledge of the multiplayer, but they would make so many mistakes that I see myself making. Like just not noticing one guy has a ghost or something, or not noticing your surroundings and just making massive mistakes out of nowhere.
Being trigger happy perhaps as well, or not?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like the moment you get a red, fire it. The moment you get a star, fire it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that kind of mistake.
So yeah, that was sort of sobering. That's exactly what would happen to me if I played that. And a small shout out to Mark Jones for doing a great job on commentary. He deserves that.
Yeah, we can give shout outs to Mark Jones all day because he is the guy that
he is the godfather of
supports
MK64.
supports the website, whatever, all that thing, all that stuff. Respect given.
All right. N/circle jerk. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna mention something called. I think I mentioned something called Mari/O a few episodes back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that project has been put on hold, I believe.
And they're playing Mario Bros now, huh?
Yeah, Seth Bling.
Yeah.
And now there's another AI learning, what's it called? Neural network. Yeah.
Yep.
Running, which is called Luigi/O, which is just SMP1 played by AI Luigi. It's running on YouTube, not on Twitch.
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
Yeah. I just get suckered into that. I can watch it for hours and think, why doesn't it do that jump? Why can't you just... Oh, he made the jump! Of course, it matters none. He will get there eventually. Some stages take weeks. Some stages take less than a day. It's just so fun to watch how the AI evolves and troubleshoots if you want.
It is very interesting, I agree.
I just, mesmerized. It's my favorite TV show these days.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I usually bounce between stuff like that, and Twitch will randomly like stream like these old TV shows. Like I saw a few episodes of Knight Rider the other night. I don't know if you guys ever watched any Knight Rider.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
never
Hassel-
did. Like I heard about the show for years, but I never watched it. And they were totally streaming it. And no homo here, but I was like, damn, David Hasselhoff is like a super attractive man. Just like I was blown away by how handsome this guy was. I was like, God, and all the females in the show were just like throwing themselves at him. Like just throwing themselves at him. Like, oh my God, it's pretty entertaining though.
Don't asshole the half, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Knight Rider. I watched Airwolf, the A-Team, all that stuff.
Yeah, but
Good stuff.
I don't remember it in the sexual context you're referring to now, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've just, I think I saw some of the later episodes of Baywatch, and I've seen him make cameo appearances in movies in like the past 10 years, but I never saw young Hasselhoff, and I was just, I don't know, like, again, no homo, but I was just blown away by, just, I don't know, man, how attractive the dude was.
No homo, but he would get some Matt.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Those baby blues, man. I don't know. There's something about them.
What you gonna do? All right, I think it's only makes sense to give a shout out to the man Patrick Wessels, who is coming to a close on his N64 project. And the last day or two, he's been going through some very nice titles. I'm not a big fan of Donkey Kong 64 myself, but just today we got Blast Corps and
Wave Race 64.
and F-Zero X.
Yeah.
So
Perfect Dark is coming up.
yeah, is he gonna do it today?
Well, it depends. Depends how long the Diddy Kong Racing takes, which he's playing right now.
Oh, that can be quite long, the adventure mode.
Yeah, exactly. I think it will be long as well, so maybe Perfect Dark will be tomorrow. But any rate, it's like tomorrow or today. And then there's only Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time left.
Right. Oh yeah, he's gonna have to finish all of those before CDM, where he's doing Mario 64.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he'll be fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He made sure of that.
Yeah. So
I mean, Carl, you still live with y'all still roommates, you and Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is he having fun at this point? I mean, like, I kind of feel that, I would kind of want to shoot myself in the face, like if that's what I was doing with most of my free time,
So that's a fair point. And I think Patrick is not a normal guy in that sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's also, I can sense that he is fed up with some part of it.
Yeah.
So he's not like these games he's playing now. He could make a meal out of it. Let's say he could really play them and enjoy them because they are good games. But he just wants to get it over with as ASAP, and he's done with it. But by the same token, like we had him a couple of episodes ago, and he was suggested that he would rerun some of the games just to lower his total time. So
Oh well.
There's two answers to that question, I think.
Yeah. Well, again, Nintendo 64, but I did hear from quite a few people that it was kind of notorious for having a lot of terrible games.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Like, obviously, there's quite a few gems that came from the Nintendo 64, but I mean, it seems that the popular consensus is that the bad games definitely outnumber the good ones, which I think it's safe to say that's probably the way it goes with most consoles. But I hear that that was specifically bad with the Nintendo 64.
I think it has a comparably low amount of gems.
Yeah,
It has a lot of not finished products of mostly 3D testing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a very ambitious console for the time, and I think a lot of titles kind of suffered the consequences because of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But back to what Carol said.
So yeah, Patrick is fed up, but he is not as fed up as you and me would be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
But
If you can get past the Chronicles of Aiden, you can get past anything.
I miss Aiden, It was a long, suffering endeavor that we all took part in, and it got us closer.
We're all better people for it.
Anyway, I really like. I've really changed my mind on when we had Patrick on the show. He was talking about redoing some of the games, like lowering his sum of potential best or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and you were worrying about his mental sanity.
Right. Well, yeah, more than usual.
Yeah.
But having thought about it for a couple of weeks now, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I'm too.
I'm liking this idea quite a bit, actually, which is weird, but yeah.
Well, I mean, is he like achieving some type of record at the end of this, or what?
Yeah, as far as anyone Patrick's spoken to knows, he's the first one to achieve this.
Ah, okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
And when you see some of the games, you would not doubt that statement.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Aiden again.
So, Aiden also spawned the best quote in the entire challenge, I believe, which was when he was still starting out and his character had not leveled up at all yet. And the balancing in the game early on is terrible, right? So he had to face this boss, which was completely OP compared to what his character was at that time. And then he was really getting frustrated by he couldn't envision a way how he would beat that boss, and he said, like, out of frustration, he just yelled like, "I'm like a fucking unborn baby against Rambo here." And that had me crack up so hard.
Oh god.
Right. I forgot that. There were so many good bits about the Aiden playthrough.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the game itself, except for the
No.
sneaking animation, obviously. But the spawned maelstrom of stream trolls and memes, yeah. We'll never forget Aiden. Right, so Patrick's doing some very nice games this weekend, but we can't watch because too much other stuff is going on. I can't watch too much. I always have a tab up on my PC. But there's also the Midwest Speed Fest going on this weekend.
Yeah,
Indeed,
our
yeah.
boy Dan H playing tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure to catch that. SMK Grand Prix All Cups run.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other good games too, which we went through on the previous episode, so we won't spend time doing that now. But
Wait, you said there's going to be an SMK Grand Prix speed run?
Yep.
Who's doing this?
Dan_2H.
Ah, Dan. Okay.
Or Dan, yeah.
What time is this happening?
We'll link you the schedule after the show.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Well, that's cool to know.
Oh,
Yeah, Dan was actually practicing this week
Yeah.
for a couple of times, so that was interesting. He put some effort into it. It's cool. He was practicing the mushroom on Donut Plains 3, Donut Plains 2, the feather on Bowser Castle 2 even, so he was going places.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen some of the Speed Fest. I saw some Metal Slug and tail end of Link's Awakening. Good luck to those guys. But there's also another thing happening this weekend, which is
Evo.
yeah, the fighting game tournament, which was born in. I think the first time it was called Evo was 2002, but it's been alive since ~98. It was called BBB or Battled by the Bay, something.
Really? I didn't even know that.
So it's the 20-year anniversary or some shit, in a way. Yeah, so this weekend we have Street Fighter V, we have Dragon Ball Z Fighter. I don't even know what that is. The Dragon Ball franchise has eluded me.
Matt, you know quite a bit about Dragon Ball, right?
As far as the video games go, no. I mean,
Same.
I've seen the series, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and I'm currently watching GT for the first time, just to say that I watched all of it. But yeah, as far as the games go, I've got nothing.
Same.
All right.
Yeah.
And also there's Tekken 7 and
Smash Bros, presumably?
and 2 Smash Bros games.
Yeah.
Melee and Brawl, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, those are very interesting actually. I do watch those finals, which will be tomorrow. Yeah, but the big kahuna is Street Fighter 5.
Daigo.
Yeah, he was in some trouble last night, but he pulled through, and he will be fighting for top 8 tonight. I think it starts in half an hour, the narrowing down from 324 to 8, which is brutal.
Are we watching?
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm...
So you think he's gonna make it?
Well, Street Fighter 5 has not been his best game.
No.
He has had decent periods, but Ryu was neutered in one of the updates for the game, and he's complete garbage at this point. He switched to Guile, which took him a bit of time to get back into. He played Guile in the mid-90s in Street Fighter 2, but yeah,
That's a while ago.
doesn't really translate. But recently, the last 3 months, he has been arguably the second best player in the world.
Who is this he that you're referring to? Is it a friend of yours or?
No. It's Daigo Umehara. He's a Japanese fighting game. He's the fighting game god.
Okay.
GOAT.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing about him way back in the day. I think maybe you introduced me to him back in like 2005, Sargoth.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly it was Super Street Fighter 2, I think.
Yeah, and Third Strike and Street Fighter 4, and he has won. If it exists, he's won it at some point.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's about to crack the 40s, so he's getting older, but he's still doing well. And do I think it's gonna make top 8? Was the question.
Yeah.
I think it's about a 50-50.
I really hope so. Like Joe, you also were the one that introduced Daigo to me, and it's a really inspirational character,
Yeah,
to say the least.
He's sort of the Roger Federer of
Exactly.
fighting games. If
That's a very good comparison, by
if
the
that
way.
helps.
Legendary, yeah.
So, I was visiting a French gaming festival called Stunfest 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I was playing Mario Maker there for the speedrun event, and I didn't know that they had top Street Fighter guys there. So I was walking around the venue, and there were hundreds of people there. And suddenly, this guy was walking past me. And I was like, "What the hell is that, Daigo?" And that was Daigo. Sure enough, I was a little starstruck. I was like, "Holy shit, that's Daigo!"
Nice.
It really felt like it would be like if Roger Federer was just walking down the venue, right? That's what it felt like.
In a way,
it was
yeah.
pretty cool.
And also, let's not sell Carol short. We should all go and watch his Super Mario Maker run from that event.
Except the ending, please.
Well, yeah. Well, as with anything you watch from Carol, don't watch the ending. Just
Oh.
Burn.
enjoy the road to the nigh end, and then call it a day.
Yeah, I will
Shots
not be linking
fired.
that video.
Yeah, link that video. Also, to any new listeners or less aware listeners, most of the stuff we talk about in the show will be linked in the director's cut / YouTube version of the show.
Indeedy.
So I
Except for maybe that one.
I might just link the run I did at the NLG Mini the week before, which actually did finish nicely.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, whichever you feel more comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, I get to choose. It's fine.
Anyway, the links in the video description of the show, well worth checking out. There's so much good stuff there. I use them myself sometimes and just get caught up in some old Summoning Salt videos or whatever.
Actually, the sorry to interrupt you there, but the Stunfest one has very enthusiastic French commentary, so I might just link it for that alone. It's pretty entertaining.
In French?
Yeah, in French, like "Oh merde, putain!" Yeah, you know, magique.
You just summed up every French commentator ever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not hard.
Good. Wow. All right. Yeah. So
Also, shout out to Summoning Salt. I heard him mentioned. I think it's 4 for 4, 5 for 5 now.
no, I think it
for
was
the
left
show.
out of one episode
Okay.
somehow. All right. I think that does it for the scheduled proceedings, except for the cartel interview. Now we're a couple of men short, but Matt, you'll have to make do.
Yo. All right. So yeah, I think everyone here knows that pretty much the roster for the cartel is me, Eric Olden, who is also a pretty active member of the time trials community for SMK, and Kyle Randall, who's he's kind of a battle mode specialist, and Ben, who I don't know, he hasn't really done much at this point. Like he's one of those people who just has like I don't know a hand in like 50 billion things at once, and he just wants to I don't know be the best at all 50 billion of those things. And he hasn't quite made time for SMK yet. He is one of the most talented gamers that I've ever met, and I know that if he ever just made time for the game, that he would just, I mean, he's got all the potential in the world.
He's
and
a crazy good piano player, right?
Yeah, I mean, any instrument. Like, he's piano and drums are probably his best, but I mean, he can play, circles around me on guitar, and I mean, he's just he can play whatever.
That kind of guy, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, he hasn't quite made time for SMK, which is a bit disappointing because several months ago he was like, "Hey, I'm going to go to CDM. Can I borrow the PAL console? I don't want to go there unprepared." And guys, I don't think that he's touched it a single time. That he has not even hooked it up.
Can't blame him at all for not wanting to play PAL, by the way.
Yeah, but it really sucks
Again?
for me. The guy who wants
5 for 5, Saga.
It sucks for me because hey, I definitely would have been practicing this whole time. And yeah, so which I mean, obviously, I don't go to CDM to win. At least not at this point in my Mario Kart career, but go there for fun. And I mean, definitely going to lose at whatever, but again, not going there to win. It's just fun.
Improving is fun, though.
Yeah, and that too. And I don't know, the past 2 times that I've been, which the only 2 times that I've been, when the week's over with, I don't know, it just kind of like rekindles like a love for the game. Which, with that being said, like I definitely don't want to play for a week, after CDM because I've been playing Mario Kart for like 10 hours for the past 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like it's really inspiring being around these people who I more or less view as celebrities, and not just that, but it's a lot of celebrities in real life tend to be, I think it's 50-50. Some of them tend to be assholes. You're like, oh, this person, I love your movies, blah blah blah, and they're just like, fuck off, don't talk to me. I'm like, okay, well, all right, I guess your movies are still good, but you're kind of a dick. That's not the case with this community. Like, everyone's just like super humble and super, I don't know, just super down to earth. And yeah, but back to the cartel. So those are the members. It's just the 4 of us. And I think Eric came up with the name. Like, Eric's a pretty punny guy. Like, I don't know. Every other sentence that comes out of his mouth is usually, a pun. And I think that he's the person that came up with the name. And yeah.
Are all 4 of you guys going to CDM this year?
Yes.
Cool.
We are going. Yeah, we're all going to be able to make it. In addition to the 4 of us, Kyle's brother Chris is going, who came to CDM in 2016, which that's actually a pretty funny story. So CDM 2016, I was still living in Germany, and the CDM was in Strasbourg, which was literally like less than an hour away from where I lived in Germany, which was super convenient. So yeah, the day of, I guess, time trials, like I got on a train and headed to Strasbourg, and before I got on the train, me and my wife got in like this, or me and my ex-wife got in this really epic fight, like just terrible argument. Like I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. It's supposed to be a happy day for me. This fucking sucks. And I get to CDM, kind of in a bad mood, like my spirits are slowly but surely being lifted. And, I'm practicing some time trials, and someone puts their hands on my shoulders and starts massaging me as I'm playing. And I look behind me, and it's Kyle, my friend Kyle from Monroe. And he didn't tell me he was coming. I had no idea that they were coming. Like I'm just having the worst day ever when I'm supposed to be having the best day ever. And lo and behold, my friend's there. In addition to him being there, his brother Chris and Chris's girlfriend Alex were also there. So that was just such an epic surprise.
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, I know, right? I'll never forget that feeling, and I was like, oh my God, it's you. But anyway, so yeah, in addition to the cartel, Chris and Alex, who were there in 2016, will also be coming. And Alex, God bless her soul, so many French guys are just throwing themselves at that poor girl. And I know it's going to happen again this year, but as entertaining as that was to watch, I don't know, I kind of felt bad for her. I was like, poor girl, just all these sweaty dudes in this venue, just a bunch of nerds. It smells terrible in here, and I don't know. You have this fair maiden who's just being bombarded by all these French guys.
So she's in the same predicament as David Hasselhoff. Just
pretty much, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna, I don't know, kind of take the story back a few more years. A lot of people, when I went to CDM in 2016, commented like, "Hey, you came out of nowhere, never heard of you before." Which me and Eric just kind of jumped onto the scene. We didn't really know anybody in the community. Actually, we didn't even know the community existed for the longest time. What the SMK community, for the most part, has been around and active since like 2003 or something like that, is it?
2002 even.
Right? Oh, for the CDM? Yeah, 2002. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as like the time trial site goes, like
99.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Like, started playing the game in 1992. Played for years. Put it away for a long time. And then I think it was like around 2010. I downloaded Super Mario Kart or put like a ROM on the GameCube or something. And no, it was the Wii. Yeah, I played. Got it from like the Wii Virtual Store. Played it with a GameCube controller. Which at this point, my Super Nintendo, I didn't have one anymore. Which, okay, let me backtrack a little bit more and tell you that story. So it was New Year's 2000. I think it was 2010. I was going to hang out with Kyle, one of the 4 members of the cartel. And I loaded my Super Nintendo up. We were going to play some video games, loaded some guitars up and some effects pedals and all kinds of stuff. And we were just going to have like a gay old time New Year's Eve, drinking, playing video games, playing instruments, just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm loading my car up, right? I have to take like 3 trips loading my car. And on the last trip, when I went inside my apartment, which was like, I don't know, maybe 10 meters from my car in the parking lot, I go into my apartment and I come back with the next load, and my car door's open and I see like someone running away, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? So I have like 2 handfuls of stuff, and someone like got into my car and took like several bags, and in those bags were my Super Nintendo and like a dozen games, and one of the other bags was just $300 worth of effects pedals for my guitar.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, got robbed. Ran after the guy, which I mean, I couldn't just like drop all the stuff that was in my hands immediately. So I put my stuff safe away. It was nighttime, dark outside, and I never found the guy. Went around asking people, which, man, I swear, like, had I found the guy, obviously probably would have beat the guy up, and it would have took everything in me not to urinate on him after I was done, and God forbid I have to take a dump, like so pissed off about that, yeah. But so I go to Kyle's, get like stupid drunk, try to have a good time, take a nap, sober up a little bit, come back home. And when I get back home, in my parking lot is my Super Nintendo and the game smashed to pieces. So
wow.
Not only did the culprit rob me, but I guess he looked at this old console, was like, what the fuck is this? No one wants to buy this shit. I can't even give this away. So yeah, he comes back to the crime scene and smashes the shit up,
Jeez.
So yeah, like I don't know, but anyway, so didn't have a Super Nintendo.
That's a story.
That's a story.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
So didn't have a Super Nintendo for a minute, and so yeah, me and Eric are talking one day, and we're talking about, I guess, video games that we used to play, and Mario Kart came up. He's like, "Man, I used to be a beast at Mario Kart." And I was like, "Me too," And so we get it for the Wii, and we play it, and which at this point I'm still playing with Yoshi, like the worst character in the game, and Eric is playing with Toad or Koopa, I can't remember which one, but yeah. So we're having lots of fun, and we decide, hey, this would be so much funner on the actual console. So I get another Super Nintendo, get Mario Kart controllers, and we start playing on that. And yeah, so we're practicing. We're a lot better than we were as children, and we're like, hey, I wonder how good other people are at this game. So we get on YouTube. Or like, I don't know. I think the first video that I saw was Gilliam's VL2 PAL 5-lap run.
Oh, jeez.
Exactly. And I was like, holy shit, like, I don't know. It just blew my mind, just totally mind-boggling. And then we saw, I think the first Grand Prix match video that I saw was Sammy. It was the final, I think. It was a Grand Prix final, I think 2013 maybe, between Neo and Sammy.
Is the 5-4?
It was between Sammy. I think it was 2014.
Yeah,
or
was the score 5-4? Because one of the finals went to 5-4.
Yeah, it was the 5-4. You're right.
Yeah.
The score was 5-4. I can't remember exactly which year, but we saw that, and we were just, I don't know, totally blown away. And but I do remember watching the first match at MC1, them racing, and I think Sammy won and got like a time of like I don't know, 51 something, and I remember thinking, well, wow, I can get like 50.3, But then I found out there were two different versions of the game. There's an NTSC version and a PAL version, and I was like, whoa, what is this shit, And then, of course, the NBTing, never saw anything like that, which I do, after watching it, remembering like, instances where I accidentally NBT'd, and thinking like, whoa, what was that all about? And yeah, I don't know. Discovered that there was this world championship that was held every year since 2002 was it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, I was just completely blown away, filled with so much regret that I never knew that this existed until now. And
you were kind of late on the scene because you also enjoyed it as a kid, and most of us went through the same thing as you did, but then 10 years earlier, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. And learning about it, 10 years ago versus just a couple of years ago would have, I don't know. I had so much more free time back then, to play the game as an adult. Like I don't really have or make the time that I want to play it. But with that being said, I don't know, learning about this community and just how big it is, how awesome it is, it kind of brings me back to when I was a kid, though. And I'm just having so much more fun as an adult playing the game. Learning all this new shit that's going on with the game. But
having said that, though, Matt, when you joined, was the tail end of 2015, the time trial site. You were one of the fastest climbers we've ever had. I think you arrived just inside the top 100, 99. It's very respectable for an entry point, by the way.
That's a very high entry point.
But after that, you just took off.
Yeah, right?
You got the Player of the Year award. You got to American Champion. So
I don't
You
know.
must have been playing some.
No. I definitely did. Like, me and my ex, we had opposite schedules. She was a full-time student, and my work schedule was opposite with hers. So, yeah, like I did have quite a bit of downtime there. Without having to worrying about
When you were living
entertaining
in
anyone
Germany.
else. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know, and I did make time too because I don't know, man. I just caught this time trial fever. I was like, it's because I never played time trial growing up. Me and my brother only played Grand Prix and battle mode. Never played time trials. Never played match race. And I look at the people who are really good at time trials, and like nowadays, and I guess way back then, and I think for the most part they were only childs. Like Carl, do you have any siblings? I don't think so.
Yeah, I do, but
You do?
we only played Grand Prix in the beginning. But
Yeah.
she was not one of those people that she played games, my sister,
Yeah.
but she didn't play games as obsessively as I did. Like she
Yeah.
would move on to the next game, and I would just get stuck on things I liked.
Yeah.
Which is
But,
explains the difference. But I had never
Yeah.
played match race either.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, just time trials just was not appealing, as a child. Like I had a brother, and we always played games together, so it was always Grand Prix battle mode. But yeah. But even after discovering the community, as far as like the World Championship and that stuff goes, it still wasn't a few years later until we, I guess discovered the time trial site. And yeah, so as soon as we discovered that, that was all she wrote. And I saw in 2015, November of 2015, the very first person from the community that I met was Neo, and I met him at some kind of gaming convention in Strasbourg, the same place that CDM would be held the next year. And I heard that Neo was going to be at this event, and again, like Neo's just like this celebrity to me. I'm like, oh, it's like 45 minutes away. Got to meet this guy. So
That's kind of funny because we were mentioning that Daigo was like the Roger Federer of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And of course, Neo would be the Roger Federer of SNK.
Yeah,
That's his actual nickname.
and he looks like him too.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I go to this gaming convention in Strasbourg, November 2015, and actually it wasn't November 2015. That's when I went and chilled with you, Carl. You were the second person that I met from the community. Y'all had the Dutch meet, which was I think in November 2015. I think it was September 2015. Yeah, that I met Neo for the first time. And so I get to the place where he's supposed to be coming, and I guess putting on a display of his awesomeness. And I'm there playing with some of the French players who I can't remember their names, but I do remember seeing them at CDM the next year. I think Adrian was one of them. Adrian Garo. I'm not
Garo,
exactly sure
yeah.
how. Okay, yeah. So, playing with those guys, some Grand Prix, and I can't remember who I was playing, but it was Grand Prix 150 CC, and me and this other guy are playing each other. And Neo walks into the room, and I see him out the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy. I kind of had like one of those moments, in DBZ, when all the characters, all the good guys are like huddled together, and just out of nowhere, this very powerful, chakra just enters the atmosphere, and they're like, oh shit, that's kind of what it felt like. I was like, oh god, just the gravity and yeah, exactly. Just the gravity in the room changed, and he walks up behind me, and just like Kyle, like he starts massaging my shoulders.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like meeting Neo, and I was not playing time trials at this point, by the way. But meeting him and just talking with him, and he was like a celebrity at this place too. He had like this like VIP badge on, and like he was like, "You want some food?" I was like, "Sure." And he's like, got me all this free food and stuff, and like we had like seriously like probably a solid hour of one-on-one conversation, which was really cool. Like I don't know, like he's one of the bigger names in the community, and he happened to be the first person that I met in the community. And got him. I was such a fanboy too. Like
You're off to a good start, though.
yeah. Like I got him to sign my cartridge and whatnot, and he gave me like all kinds of pro tips. And I told him that I was going to the Netherlands. I think it was in November to go to the Dutch meet. And he's like, "Oh yeah, those guys are so great." He's just going on and on about how awesome Carl is, and how drunk Aaron gets and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. It's a good time. But yeah, that was my first encounter with one of the big fish in the community, and second being with Carl, which at the same time. Me and Chris Wild rode to the Dutch meet in a car together. So I got to meet Chris Wild, which I guess technically Chris Wild was the second person in the community that I met because we rode together. But yeah, I don't know. Like
Chris Wild certainly no slouch either.
yeah.
Universal Mario Kart champ.
Yeah, but it was after the Dutch meet that that's when I really got into time trials like hot and heavy. It was after the Dutch meet. I don't know, went there and just
you got the famous Dutch PR smash virus. Sure.
Yeah,
Oh, that was a thing.
Yeah. Infected. Then there.
Yeah, but Eric, he actually started time trials like, I don't know, maybe a month or two before me, and he was just constantly on me. He's like, "Man, you got to get on this. It's going to sharpen your skills, blah blah blah." And then after hearing, Neo and Carl kind of say the same thing, I was like, "All right, it's time to do this." But Eric would send me videos of him doing MBTs. I'm like, God, because I don't know, at least before I moved to Germany, it seemed like I was always just a little bit better than Eric at the game, and he's sending me these videos of him doing all these NBTs. I was like, well, fuck, man, I really got to get on the ball. So he played a large part as far as, encouraging me to, I don't know, I guess crack down and start fine tuning, the NBT aspect of the game. So
it's funny. I had a list of questions prepared for you, but you've already answered 75% of it just by talking.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. That's cool. The only question I had left is, do you remember your maiden CDM match, and against who was it?
Nice question, Kevin.
That is a very nice question. God, you know what?
Don't be embarrassed if you don't remember, because I don't remember mine.
I mean, just shooting from the hip off the top of my head, no, I don't. I can't remember. I do remember my first match against one of the bigger players, which was against Sammy. It was in match race, and I almost beat him at MC4. Almost beat him. I was ahead of him on the last lap. I was driving, really well. And I think he gets a star and just mows me down, right before I cross the finish line or something like that. I think it was on stream, actually. I think it was on stream. So I should be able to find it. But I think it pretty much involved him getting a star and just mowing me down.
Can I just interrupt for a second and put a pin in your sentence, I almost beat him? Because that is the exact sentence everyone who plays Daigo in Street Fighter games will say.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I almost beat him. I almost had him. Everyone says that. And Daigo's never worried.
Oh, wow. Oh, I mean, I doubt that Sammy was sweating when I was about to cross a few frames from crossing the finish line, but he definitely pulled it off. So.
Well, that was one track, right?
No. You're right. I mean, he destroyed me the previous.
I'm not trying to take anything away from
the story. No. Take any victory against that I can get against the Godfather.
It's just
which by the way, guys, I don't know if y'all noticed this on the registration, the list of participants, but his nickname isn't the Godfather. Did y'all notice that? It's something else. It's Sammy SMK or something like that.
No, that's gotta be changed, man.
Dude, I know. I was disappointed. I was like, "No, bro, you're the Godfather."
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's surprising.
But yeah.
Does he call himself that now? I know his message board nickname used to be that, or still is.
I don't know if he calls himself that actually.
But
I know I think I get to take credit for naming him that actually, but I'm not entirely sure. Not that it matters anyway.
Just to keep on the topic of Evo, Daigo is called the Beast since late 90s, and I think it was 3 years ago when he finally embraced it himself. So people were just calling him that as a nickname for 20 plus years, and then he went, okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty epic nickname.
Yeah, but
Doesn't cut any corners,
well, it's just something about acknowledging, yeah, I am pretty great, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he sounds like I guess he's a pretty modest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost cliche Japanese, but it's true.
Yeah.
I have meanwhile cheated and looked up. I think this may have been your first match in CDM, which was against Jay. Is that correct?
Ooh.
Match race Jay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the
Carl,
score.
I mean, okay. Well, you might as well say it now.
4-0.
Yeah. Which
could have been worse.
I do. Could it have though?
Not in the group stage, but
But yeah, actually, I do remember that. And I think that at some point, shortly after that match, that I played Harold too, maybe, or maybe I'm thinking of CDM last year. But anyways, like I do remember playing Jay. And like the whole time he's kicking my ass, like he's giving me tips. He's like, "Hey, you should have done this with the green shell. You should have done that." And I was like, "Well, that's cool, So, I can't remember if I played Harold that same year, if I'm thinking of last year. But when I played Harold in Match Race 2, he was doing the same thing. Like he was like genuinely like giving me helpful advice. Which obviously I'm not a threat to him. Like I'm not gonna take this advice and like kick his ass the next match, but. I thought that was really cool.
That's cool.
Like,
I also have that experience with when I was going to meetings for the first time, like international meetings. I was already good at racing, but I had almost never played battle mode before, and there I was playing Drew, and Drew was constantly giving me advice. You shouldn't have done that. You should have done that. You shouldn't have done that. You should have done that. And it's like, oh wow, this is really useful actually. He was kicking my ass, but at the same time I was getting. Like a masterclass. It was nice.
Yeah.
So today, he's still kicking your ass, but he's not giving you pointers anymore?
I think he still does that, actually. Yeah. I think the only people he doesn't do that with is like Scoop, Geo, Neo, Sami. Or even maybe against Sami. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, a quick shout out to Scoop for giving you the opportunity to find Matt's first match this fast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Scoop does a ton of work for the SMK community outside of SMK itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on that note, of course, he designs the CDM posters every year. And today we received a big box in the mail with 75 A3 size CDM posters of really, really good quality. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And also an A0 huge format poster, which is going to be in the venue somewhere, probably the front door. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice to receive that mail today.
So, Carl, are you just like going to be crashing at your house during the week and just driving to the venue? No? Are you staying at the hostel too? Or?
I'm staying in a hotel in Alphen.
Hostel,
okay.
The gutter trash.
Matt is going to be staying at the hostel.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Good luck with that.
It'll be fine. But yeah, I basically, as being part of the organization, I felt like I should probably be there at every moment that I'm needed. So I'm just staying at a stone throw away from the venue, basically.
Nice.
I felt that was the healthiest thing to do.
Is this? This is not question Carol hour, but is this your first time organizing something of this character?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
It's a hassle. It sure is a hassle. Well, all sorts of things went wrong already, but for now we have managed to at least save the event.
Oh.
And let's see how it goes next week.
It was looking bad at some point, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty bad. Yeah. I won't go into details, but the hostel has changed locations.
Okay. All right.
I'm assuming better, right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
The hostel that we had intended was booked fully
Okay.
before we could book it.
Gotcha.
And the one that we got instead was more or less the same kind of deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but it was a bit of stress, of course,
Mm.
to do that last minute, sort of. And yeah, it is quite a thing to be organizing an event of this magnitude. Even though it's only 60 people, there's still a lot of logistics involved, especially because the CDM organization is based entirely in France and made up of French people, and
Very
all our
French.
resources are French or in France, located in France. Yeah, so there's that, and it's the first time that the CDM will ever be held outside of outside of France, basically. So all that is challenging enough on its own, without the already initially challenging aspect of just organizing such a thing. So we're not in the clear yet. I think we still have some work to do to make it a successful event, but I hope that it's going to be a smooth ride. I'm just jinxing it, am I not?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Please stop that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say no more.
All right. That was just a side note because I remember how I felt when I started organizing NLG 07.
Mm-hmm.
That there was like a bag of bricks hit the back of my head suddenly when I realized, what the hell am I? How am I going to do this?
But that was a great event.
Yeah,
I will have to say.
But the disgust of the feeling is what propelled me towards making it good, I guess. Because I was deathly frightened. I was going to cancel the whole thing several times.
Yeah, there is a big responsibility on your shoulders. That's totally true. But you aced that one, though, I have to say.
I lucked out.
No. I will always remember, just a side story, just to into NLG 07. I'll always remember walking in that venue, and there were like rules plastered on the walls, like printout for everyone to read. Yeah. And as soon as you enter the venue, there was like, okay, don't be an asshole, basically, blah 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 blah, throw your trash away, whatnot. And then there was like, on the final slide, there was like, and no gay sex of any kind allowed inside this venue. That's like Sargoth through and through.
There was something about people who would not obey the law, the rules, would get shot in sight as well. However that works. Yeah. I think there even was a clause regarding moonshine, and in hindsight, this is not the NLG 07 episode, which we may do at some point, but there was a booze incident, a moonshine incident.
Did this take place in Norway?
Yes, 2007.
Okay. So you guys have moonshine in Norway?
Moonshine? Yes. Very, yes.
Okay. Okay. Is it legal? Okay. Well, I mean, that's how it is here.
Not as such.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, but drinking regular booze from the store in Norway will get you bankrupt pretty fast.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. The thing is, you're sort of allowed to make moonshine for your own consumption. It's the selling they don't like.
Gotcha.
Mass production and selling.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I'll make the moonshine story short. Mm-hmm. So I think we were done for the day. The tournaments of the day were done, and the next day was a slow day or something. I forget the details. Anyway, I brought down 1.5 liters of 92% alcohol moonshine.
Right, nice.
The good stuff, top shelf.
Yeah.
For the guys to wind down and relax, have a good time, play some poker maybe. I forget what the plan was. Play some circuit breakers, certainly.
Destroy your esophagus.
Yeah.
While you're at it. Yeah.
Destroy Illu. That's a different story. Anyway. Yeah. So the two geniuses, by the names of Drew Blumfield and Patrick Wessels, were making food, probably for the first time in their lives, especially food that doesn't involve a microwave. So they were gonna make rice and chicken or something. And I left the venue at this point. I was going back to my home, which was quite nearby, just for a bit. And when I got back to the venue, they were asking, so how? No, I was asking where's the moonshine because I wanted a bit of karsk, which is moonshine and coffee, which is the best thing people can
Oh man,
experience.
moonshine coffee, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I was asking for the bottle, the liter and a half, which could not have been consumed in the time I was gone, and I couldn't
No,
find it.
not without imminent death. No.
Right, imminent death. You may have been able to consume it.
Yeah.
So I was just asking around, and I got no good answers. And then I found the bottle empty. So I sniffed it, and yeah, this was definitely the moonshine bottle, but there was nothing left. So okay, maybe they put it into a jug or smaller bottles, or I don't know. So I think it took me like an hour, 2 hours to get to the bottom of it. But the aforementioned genius chefs had emptied the entire bottle of moonshine into the sink and filled it up with water as a measuring unit for the rice.
Oh my god, no. Oh man.
That's
So
just
did someone get punched in the face?
well, they were reluctant to admit who it was at first, but I think they took the blame. Both of them took the blame at some point, and they offered to
Yeah.
pay me back or something, but that wasn't the point at all. I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
You wanted your moonshine coffee, and that was no longer an option.
yeah. Well, I kind of wanted everyone to have a taste because it's sort of a thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's like coming to America and tasting, I don't know, cheese.
Jeez. Nah. Burgers, man.
Yeah, cheeseburgers. God, like all the cheeseburger jokes living in Europe, man. Like seriously.
Well,
man, I don't even like cheeseburgers.
But Matt, you're completely in the position to fill in the blank here. What would you serve or have people experience if they could?
Okay, all right. So if you guys came and visited
Cajun?
me in Louisiana, yeah, I would give you all some jambalaya or some crawfish or shit
that's
like
nice.
that. Yeah, it's spicy food. You know, no cheeseburgers, no McDonald's. Yeah.
I was in the States for a road trip for 3.5 weeks in the spring, and we had the unfortunate situation where we had to go to the McDonald's twice during the trip. Like there was nothing close, and we had already driven the entire day, and boy did it suck. Like the McDonald's over there is a lot worse than over here.
No, big time.
The people that work there are basically, I don't want to be too antagonistic, but
go for it.
Not clever. Let's just euphemistically state it as such.
Well, I actually did have McDonald's a few times living in Germany, and like I definitely noticed like, hey, this shit tastes way better over here than it does back home. You know. And
the first 2 times I ordered milkshake, I got water. So.
Oh wow.
It was that bad.
Oh man. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Anyway, so yeah, fish. You would serve us fish.
Yeah, that too.
Cool.
Yeah.
I do want to come to Louisiana once. I think it would be quite a trip.
Yeah, I think that you would. Yeah, okay. We could have fun for a few days in Louisiana. I think that you would probably. I was going to say you'd probably have more fun visiting Joe. And Joe, you said you live in Denver?
Joe already left.
Oh, he left 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Did it? Oh, well, thanks for saying goodbye, Joe. I thought he was being really quiet the whole time.
Don't cut that out, Sargas. Don't cut that out.
Okay, but yeah, Denver, your money would probably be better, or time would be better spent in Denver. Which, with that being said, like, I mean, you went to Wyoming, you know, you went to Yellowstone, so I mean,
I love that
Yellowstone.
there.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I was super jealous and happy for you at the same time, but mostly jealous because I live over here and I've never been to Yellowstone. And I almost went a few years ago with Ben and a mutual friend of ours.
Hmm.
They went over there for like 10 days because this very wealthy person, I can't remember what state he lives in, but he buried $1 million in Yellowstone.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. We called Winamp that as
and
well. Yeah,
yeah, and to my knowledge, no one has found it to this day.
exactly. Yeah,
And this is something that this guy's done before,
this is still
and
going indeed.
yeah,
Yeah.
like this person has done this before, and people have found, every time, the money that this guy buried, but this time, so far, no one has found it yet, and
Yeah, if you don't
yeah,
want it to be found, put it in Yellowstone. It's so
yeah,
huge, and
yep,
it's
yeah.
actually kind of dangerous to venture everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
So
I mean, they went in there just with tents and I think maybe some pistols and knives and shit and food. And they said one morning, I think that there was like a buffalo that like peeked its head, like a young buffalo that like
mhm.
peeked its head in their tent or something. Kind of freaked them out, because those guys are pretty massive, and I don't think they're notorious for being aggressive, but any large mammal, when you get close to their children, they kind of
Yeah,
go ape shit on you. But
there's the story about a moose in Norway, right? In your garden, Sargoth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Last year, I think I've seen it this year as well. If that's the moose you're referring to,
yeah.
huh,
there are
okay.
several.
You approached
Well,
it when I had a kid, right?
Oh,
In a drunken state.
well, yeah, I got a bit of flack from the missus for that one.
Justifiably so, maybe.
I just wanted to say hello. Come on. Yeah, there's been a moose or moose and a cub walking around the
The most
neighborhood.
dangerous kind.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the one you don't want to fuck with.
yeah.
So it spent, I want to say, 3 or 4 months there. Just this is a not heavily residential area. What should we call it?
Yeah,
Um,
it's the wild, pretty much.
Well, there are houses nearby each
Yeah.
other, so
it's not densely populated. There's not very many people living there.
No,
No.
it's not.
no.
No.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's just walking between the houses, and there's like a very small forest area between the houses where it just walks back and forth.
hmm
I just stayed here for a long time during the winter.
I always like to tell the story that we were hiking up a mountain, and then we came back a little later than planned. So we had to drive through Marius's place back. We had to drive in the night, in the dark, and of course, there's always the risk of a moose crossing the road.
Yeah.
And if you hit a moose with your car, that's basically it for you,
Game
right?
over.
Because
Wait,
there's
are you saying game over as in, hey, your car's totaled because you just ran into a
no,
massive
you're
animal,
basically
or
you're
going to
gone.
jail?
You're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah, because they have a very
okay.
high center of gravity, and they're huge, and they will just completely crush your windshield.
The
Oh
entire.
wow. Okay.
So you basically use the hood of your car to
Yeah.
knock them off their feet, so that the entire body can come crashing through the windshield.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. Now they are
Okay.
huge, so
So
Yeah.
to finish the story,
Yeah.
indeed there happened to be a moose on the road that night, of course.
Yeah.
And Marius hit the brakes hard, and I hadn't seen it yet, but Marius said, "Oh, there's a moose!" And so I was looking, and there it was already off the road, on the side of the road, and
Yeah.
this was like a fucking dinosaur. I'm not even kidding. It was so big. I was completely shocked. I know I've seen big deer, but this was twice as big as I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a giraffe, but without the long neck.
yeah.
big
Seeing
one.
pictures of the moose does nothing. When you see them in real life, they're freakishly huge.
Yeah.
Was that a particularly big specimen by any chance, or
I don't recall it actually, but so probably not. No.
I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even know that y'all had moose in Norway. I've always been under the impression that they were exclusive to North America. I didn't know that they existed in other parts of the world. So yeah, I learned something new
Typical American.
today. Yeah, I know, right?
No, we got the works up in Norway when it comes to wildlife.
Have you ever ran into a moose like with your car?
No, just a deer. That's my
Just
best.
a deer.
My
Okay,
PB
okay.
is a beer.
Yeah,
You're still
Deer.
alive, so
deer.
Yeah, it just grazed the car.
Ah, okay.
Grazed it.
no. But if you had hit a moose, you wouldn't be here, maybe, presumably.
It depends on the car. If it's an
Yeah.
SUV, you'll probably be fine. But the normal saloon, sedan, yeah, that's it.
Hmm. I had a deer one time that ran into my truck. Like it ran into the side of it. I didn't run over it, but it ran into the side of my truck, and it broke its neck. Like it immediately killed it. It had this huge dent in the side of my truck.
Yeah.
And I stopped, backed up, looked at it. It was dead. I just threw it in the back of the truck and brought it home. So yeah,
There's a
just
couple of laws against that, but okay.
well, it was wintertime. The meat was good, so I wasn't just there. So me and my dad skinned it, and we had 90 pounds of deer meat. You know,
Yeah.
so
Doesn't
yeah.
roadkill belong to the county or something?
Man, probably, but I mean, I wasn't just gonna let the raccoons and shit have it.
Right.
I don't know. If it's summertime, the meat's not good. You don't want to really eat the meat in summertime because there's a chance that it can have parasites and whatnot. But in the wintertime, it's prime pickings.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, and it fucked my truck up. I had this huge dent inside of my truck, and yeah, obviously the truck still operated just fine, but cosmetically, it just had this huge pimple on the side of it, and so.
And a good story.
I figured the least that I could do is, get some spaghetti and steaks out of it. So that's what happened.
I gotta say, if I ever come to visit Louisiana, I want to get served homemade roadkill, no doubt.
Well, that is easily doable.
I'm gonna regret
I'm
this.
not. Yeah, you are. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to enjoy it because most of roadkill consists of armadillos, possums, and raccoons.
Hogs?
Which
Do you get hogs?
yeah. There's hogs too, coyotes, fox. There's all kinds of shit running around here.
Reminds me of a George Carlin bit about the fried raccoon assholes.
Oh,
Americans will eat anything.
Oh man.
Now I have to watch Carlin. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the show has served its purpose by now.
Yeah, I think it served its purpose 30 minutes ago. But
well, we do enjoy having a bit of banter alongside the seriousness of news.
Yeah, wrap up.
Anyway, Matt, great having you on. This is my first time talking extensively to you, or at all outside of Carol's stream, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you are one of the prime new bloods in the SMK scene in a way.
Yeah, I mean, as far as time trials is concerned, yeah, but I mean, haven't necessarily made a name for myself at CDM yet.
No,
but yeah,
it'll come.
Yeah, it'll come
once you get a Pelsness for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna. Sorry to interrupt you. I want to ask you one more question though.
Yeah.
This relates to both Terrence Fenner and Nicholas Harvey.
Oh.
Because there was this cartel plan to make a documentary.
Yes.
Please fill in the blanks.
Okay. So actually, okay. Well, before the documentary, which by the way is going to be called Finding Fenner, there's going to be a documentary called The Hunt for Harvey. Harvey lives in Gulfport, Mississippi, which is, right next to Louisiana. I think it's maybe 5 hours away, Gulfport. So yeah, we're gonna go to Gulfport and try to hunt Harvey down by any means necessary. Which we're going to, I guess, more or less interview players who have known Harvey for years now and get advice on how to go about doing this. Because we don't know Harvey to the extent that you guys do. So we're gonna definitely hit you guys up for pointers and whatnot. But you know which
town he lives though.
Yeah, I mean, we have his
Yeah,
home
so
address.
basically you
Thanks
map
to
down.
Mario. Thanks
You
to
map.
Mario, we have his home address. He lives 1 mile. He
Oh,
lives
okay.
less than a mile away from a McDonald's.
I was gonna say just find every McDonald's, draw a 1 mile circle around it.
Yeah, well, I
And
mean, just camp out in McDonald's parking lot. It's inevitable, it's inevitable. We're going to see Wild Harvey in his own habitat. But anyway, so a couple of weeks ago, Andrew Colts came by. He's like pretty big in the non-NBT scene. He stayed the weekend here.
Nice, I didn't know that.
And yeah, we had a great time. Had a great time.
Awesome.
And he's actually working in a town that's like 20 minutes away from where Harvey lives.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're like, hey, man, you gotta at least get a picture of this guy. Something. Like we want to confirm his existence. At the very least. And he said that pretty much he's willing to help us out here. Which Andrew Colts, by the way, is an awesome dude, great guy. Like when I didn't have any expectations as far as, hey, what does this guy look like? I don't really think about that kind of stuff. The dude's a freaking giant, man. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was pretty, blown away by, how tall you are, Carl. I think is Mario the tallest person in the community, or is it you?
It's Drew.
It's Drew. Drew's taller than you and Mario?
Drew is taller than me, yeah.
I was going to say Steven Swatches immediately.
Yeah. Steven watches, but he's not actually
right.
going to meetings anymore.
Okay, well, Andrew Colts is definitely taller than Drew.
Matthew McCarty?
So, yeah.
No, Andrew Colts. It's an American player.
No. Matthew McCarty is the tallest.
Yeah, but he's also not going anymore. But yeah, he's also taller than Drew. That's true.
Huh, okay. Joe, we want to do the hunt for Harvey first. And as far as Fenner goes, like, man, he's like, we point blank to ask him, like, hey, can we come pay you a visit and hang out? He's like, sure, come on down, like, and I don't know how okay he is with cameras and stuff like that, not that he needs to be aware of any of those things, but yeah, there's definitely going to be a Finding Fenner documentary. We want to ride some buses with him and
wow,
maybe some battle mode speed runs with him, and yeah. Which, by the way, Carl, that video that he posted recently on YouTube. Well, I say recently. I think it's been within the past 2 months about his the revival of his YouTube channel. Was it Fenner Guy Reloaded?
Yeah.
I noticed your subtle trolling in the comment section.
What did I say?
Well, you're like, oh man, you said something along the lines of, so do you mean to tell me? Or you said something like, hey, you need to re-upload your battle mode speed run or something like that.
I may have said something along those lines.
Yes. Yeah. Someone asked him, they're like, hey, do you have, you need to re-upload your MC1. He's like, I don't have access to that video anymore. Well, Carl, if you can remember the video that Kyle made like a year ago with me and Aaron playing match race and a certain Fenner,
I can remember,
going
sure.
back and forth across the. Okay, there you go. Well, Kyle obviously has that video. The 5687 video, his MC1 run, because he used the soundbite from that video in that video that we made. So Kyle has a copy of Fenner's 5687 video. And Fenner no longer has a copy of this, so we have a really epic bargaining chip here.
That's
we
true.
have something that Fenner wants. So
I don't think Fenner is going to be dodgy at all. Actually, I think he's really welcoming you guys.
No. It sounds like it, but if necessary, we have a pretty epic bargaining chip. With that video of his that even he himself no longer has.
As long as he has to take no airplanes, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, those are airplanes. They're literally statistically the safest form of travel. But he refuses to get on one.
Airplanes crash mostly.
Yes. Oh, man. All right, so that's that. Hunt for Harvey, Finding Fenner, coming to a theater near you, hopefully sooner than later.
I literally can't wait, and I say that without a hint of sarcasm.
Right, take my money.
Okay.
Where can I throw it?
Man, you can come, dude. And here's an okay. As far as that goes, we were thinking about like having some of the big guys come along, especially for Harvey. Fenner's going to be easy, but the hunt for Harvey, like the elusive Harvey, that's going to be that I think that's going to be more of a task. But man, I feel that if Mario, you, Carl, Sargoth, I'm not sure how close you are to Harvey or how aware
Wouldn't say
of
close.
you he is. Okay, okay. Well, let's just say Mario and Carl. Like, I think it's safe to say that he's a fan of both of you guys. And I think that he could not refuse a visit with y'all two. That he couldn't, And
I'm just in my mind. I'm just making up like a spectrum of people. Like you have a spectrum of different people, and then Stargoth and Harvey would be on opposite sides.
I mean, man, like, gotcha. But like, as far as like this quote documentary goes, man, we're not trying to troll the guy. Like, no, not at all. Like, man, we want to give the world what the world wants, which is, hey, we want an inside story, an interview with Nicholas Harvey. Like, I'm fascinated with the guy to no end. Like, I know that 50% of the people on the forum probably look at him in a very negative light. And which, what? I can't really blame him, because he does have some very back-assward views of, just reality in general. Like his political views, his religious views, they're just, some of them are just batshit crazy. I get it. But I don't like, when I think of Harvey, like, that's not necessarily what I think. That's not how I view him. I don't let his batshit views define who he is. Like, he is, in my opinion, he's a very charming individual. He's very charming. I think that he's got a good heart, despite his batshit crazy views at times. I don't know. I just think that he's a very charming character, that he's an iconic member of the forums.
I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
On that.
So
he has a few very opposing character qualities united in one person, and that's really interesting by and of itself.
There's definitely an untold story about Harvey.
Yeah. So whether it's whether we have to take them to a Golden Corral, which is like the mecca of American buffets, it's a chain of buffets called the Golden Corral. Whether we have to take them to one of those or get them some kind of female escort, I'll do what it takes. I just want to get an interview with a guy. I want to sit down, play some Mario Kart, crack open a few beers, and I don't know, just have a good
ball of time. Yeah,
exactly. So,
all right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So that's that.
That's a nice.
Yeah. Well, to end on this note, one of my favorite parts of listening to these episodes, which again I've only seen the first two, is the intro music. That really epic metal cover of Mega Man 2. Like who? What band is that? Is that a certain band? A certain guitar player? Do you guys know?
I know. I certainly know. Whoa.
Yeah.
See what I did there. Carol knows too, unknowingly.
Yeah.
Because me and Carol went to a concert with this band in Hoofddorp.
Really?
Is that the name?
No.
Okay, was that the name of the band, or is that the name of the town the concert
That's the venue. I'm just trying to make Carol realize.
Okay.
Are these the guys that played that version?
Yeah, they're called Persephone. It's
yeah, what the fuck? I didn't know.
Easily the best metal band from Andorra.
They're very good, actually.
But also probably my favorite new-ish metal band. They're not new per se, but they're doing stuff in a new way. And this Dr. Wily cover was just sort of a fun thing that they just recorded outside the studio. And
I didn't know they did that kind of stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, they're big gamers.
Do give them a listen, Matt. Persephone. It's very, very good.
Definitely, because I'm really big into video game metal covers or whatever.
That's not what they do, though. But yeah.
No. Yeah, I know. But I've heard quite a few Mega Man guitar covers, and I don't know. Like, I just really enjoy listening to that intro music. Like, touches my soul.
That's good, but it sort of shines a bad light on us, Carol, when that's Matt's favorite part of the episode. But
No, I said it's one of my favorite parts of the episode. Yeah, it's a nice way to start the episode off.
All right. No, yeah.
Metis likes music, so
Yeah.
and I do too. I can see where he's coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Right.
find myself humming that tune whenever I'm editing the episodes or listening to one. I'm just humming it the rest of the day.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I think I gotta get back to Evo, guys.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, guys, it was fun.
It was really nice having you over.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you guys need an extra person on the show, definitely let me know. I'd be more happy to do this. So
awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it, and until next time.
See you next week.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
Later.
do. Later.
Later.